Today, we're going to go over the big idea in statistics, methods of collecting data, and variables. First, let's look at the big major idea in statistics. The big major idea in statistics, we have a population. Within the population, we have a sample. We have sample statistics from that sample, which describe population parameters, bringing us back to the population. So let's go through these in a little more detail. First, a sample of the population is taken. Statistics are computed from the sample. Could also be known results from worker firings or dorm room lottery, like you have read in your textbook. Our sample statistics are known as mean, standard deviation, and proportions. And our mean is denoted with X bar, our standard deviation with S, and our sample proportion with P hat. Details from the sample can be used to make inferences about whole population. Population parameters are inferred or estimated based on the sample statistics. So these population parameters are mu for the mean, sigma for the standard deviation, and p for proportion. Also, the sample must accurately reflect the population. Otherwise, everything is just total garbage when you're describing the population parameters. These parameters are used to characterize features of the population or answer questions and claims. This is called statistical inference. Now remember, you have to keep in mind that the sample must accurately reflect the population. You may instead have results from an experiment. Here, you are randomly assigning different groups of different treatments and maybe looking for some sort of relationship. Let's look at 2 methods of collecting data. I want you to take a minute and read along with me this example. A farmer wants to get an estimate of the total yield of his 100 plots of land by taking a sample of 10 plots. What would be the best way to sample? A simple random sample, horizontal stratified, vertical stratified, cluster vertical, cluster horizontal, or systemic? So take a minute, pause the video, come up with which way you think would be the best way to take a sample, and write it down. A simple random sample would be a bad choice since plots close to the river may not be chosen. A horizontal stratified sample is also a bad choice since plots close to the river may not be chosen. A vertical stratified is a good choice since plots close to the river will be chosen. Cluster, but vertical, you're unable to do since it's not a good representation. However, cluster horizontal is a good representation of this because plots will be chosen close to the river. And systemic would be a bad choice since you may not choose plots close to the river. And lastly, let's look at the different variables of our data that we could have. Variables are the meaning of the value of your data. So we're going to be dealing with 2 types. The first type is categorical, also known as qualitative variables. This is a variable taking category designations, for example, your favorite color, gender, or numbers where it doesn't make sense to do math, like zip codes and social security numbers. These are also variables that you count how many of you have when you're doing analysis on it. Quantitative or numerical variables is a variable taking numerical values on which ordinary arithmetic operations make sense. Variables where values have measurement units, for example, money or inches. Also, I think of this as you need some type of mechanism to measure this type of data.